Don't scroll. Please. Just stay. Give me 60 seconds. If after that you want to leave, I'll understand. But stay for 60 seconds because what I'm about to say might be the thing you've been waiting to hear without knowing how to ask for it. Will you be with me? I know how that sounds. Too direct, too indirect, too... But that's the point. I can't do this alone anymore. And pretending I can has cost me more than I'm ready to admit. The listening rate is called Bissell. If you're listening right now, it's probably drowned by noise, but you still feel alone. You didn't come here for entertainment. You came here because your heart is tired of carrying everything by itself. So let me be honest, slowly, without hiding behind confidence or jokes or intelligence or success or excuses. I can't do this alone. I tried for years. I told myself I was built for solitude, that independence was strength, that needing someone meant weakness, that love could wait until I figured myself out. But life doesn't wait, and loneliness doesn't announce itself loudly. It settles in gently. It disguises itself as productivity, as discipline, as focus. It's being too busy, until one day you realize you have no one to call when something good happens, or when something breaks inside you, or when this silence gets too heavy. I remember the first time I felt it clearly. Not sadness, not depression, just a deep, quiet realization. I don't want to be strong tonight. I don't want to be impressive. I want to be held. That thought scared me. Because you admit that, you can't uncount it. Will you be with me? Not because I'm perfect, not because I have it all figured out, but because I'm finally honest enough to say I don't. I failed before. In love, in timing, in communication, in showing up when it mattered most. I've watched people drift away, not because they stopped caring, but because I didn't know how to let them close without fee. Ling like I was losing control. Control felt safe. Distance felt manageable, but safety without connection becomes emptiness. If you've ever chosen being alone because it felt easier than risking another heartbreak, I see you. If you've ever told yourself you're better off on your own, while secretly wishing someone would prove you wrong, I see you. I used to rehearse independence like a script. I don't need anyone. I'm fine. I've got this. But at night, when no one was watching, I'd imagine a future that felt cold. Successful, maybe. But quiet in a way that scared me. I imagined coming home to no voice, no laughter, no shared exhaustion at the end of the day. And I realized something uncomfortable. I don't want to win a win alone. Will you be with me? Not as a fantasy. As a human aura. In the moment, two imperfect people choosing effort over ego. Let me tell you where the regret comes in. There were moments when love was offered to me gently, and I didn't recognize it because it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't chasing, it wasn't loud. It was consistent presence. Small check-ins, quiet. I underestimated those things. I thought love should feel overwhelming all the time. I was wrong, love I. Soft and calm scared me. So I kept my distance. I delayed her. I focused on becoming someone instead of being with someone, and later it became never. Regret doesn't scream, it whispers. It shows up when you hear a song you shared or when you realize no one knows how your day actually went. If you're listening and nodding, don't turn away from that feeling. Sit with it. You don't have tea. Or judge yourself. Just notice it. That feeling is not weakness. Wanting and longing means your heart is still alive. Will you be with me? I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for honesty, for conversations that don't rush, for someone who understands that healing doesn't happen on a schedule. I'm asking for someone who won't disappear when things get uncomfortable. And I promise to be the say. I can't promise I won't get quiet sometimes or overthink or need reassurance, but I can promise I'll communicate instead of withdrawing. That's something failure taught me. Failure taught me that love isn't about never hurting each other. It's about repairing, about staying present during the awkward conversations, about choosing curiosity over defensiveness. I used to think saying I need you would make me smaller. Now I know it makes me real. If you've ever wanted to hear someone say I choose you, not because I need saving, but because life feels better shared, then stay with me. This isn't a performance. This is an invitation. I can't do this alone. Maybe neither can you. If that thought makes your chest tighten, don't push it away. That's your truth asking to be acknowledged. We don't talk enough about how hard it is to admit we want companionship. The world celebrates independence so loudly that dependence feels shameful. But love is not dependence, it's interdependence. It's choosing to walk together while still being yourself. I don't want to lose myself in someone. I want to meet them fully. If you're still here, still listening, I want you to answer one thing quietly just to yourself. Do you want to be chosen? Not admired, not tolerated. Chosen. So do I. That's why I'm here. Will you be with me? Don't answer yet. We have time. A lot of time. I'm not going anywhere. Stay. I'm still here. If you're wondering why I keep asking you to stay, it's because this is how loneliness heals. By not being abandoned in the middle of the truth. So stay with me while I tell you the parts I usually keep quiet. I've rehearsed conversations that never happened. Apologies I never sent. Messages I typed and erased because I didn't want to look needy. Do you know how heavy unspoken words become? They don't disappear. They turn inward. They sit in your chest and change the way you breathe. I told myself I was being respectful. I told myself I was giving space. But, if I'm honest, I was afraid of hearing no. I was afraid of confirmation that I wasn't chosen the way I hoped to be. Will you stay with me? Hear it without pressure. Hear it without performance. Just a human question from a human place. Will you stay with me? Hear it without pressure. Hear it without performance. Just a human question from a human place. There were days I woke up determined to be self-sufficient, to prove I didn't need anyone. I'd make lists, goals, plans for a few hours, and for a few hours things would happen. A joke I wanted to share, a win I wanted to celebrate, a fear I didn't want to carry alone. That's when the regret crept in. Not regret for loving, regret for hiding. Don't answer yet, won't answer yet. We have time, a lot of time. I'm not going anywhere. I regret the times I said I'm fine when I wasn't. I regret the times I minimized my feelings to make others comfortable. I regret the times I chose silence because it felt safer than honesty. If you've done that too, I need you to hear this. Silence feels safe, but it compounds pain. I learned that after watching connections fade without conflict. No big fight, no villain, just distance growing quietly like I was covering everything. I used to believe that if something mattered enough, it would survive neglect. That belief cost me love. Love needs maintenance, like attention, like curiosity, like saying the obvious out loud, before it becomes resentment. I wish someone had told me that earlier. Maybe this is me telling you now. Will you still stay with me? I'm asking because I've learned how to listen better. I'm asking because I've learned how to say I'm scared. Pretending I'm busy, I'm asking because I know how to repair now, not just retreat. If you're listening and thinking, I don't know if I can trust again, you don't have to decide that tonight. Trust doesn't start with certainty, it starts with willingness. Willingness to try again. Willingness to speak sooner. Willingness to stay present when your instincts tell you to run. I ran for a long time, not physically, emotionally. Anytime something felt too real, too tender, too important, I avoided it. They don't ask what you're avoiding. What I was avoiding was this sentence: I don't want to be alone. Say it slowly, let it land. That sentence doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're wired for connection. LLR. I spent years believing that wanting partnership meant I hadn't mastered myself yet. Now I understand that partnership is one of the ways we master ourselves. You'll learn patience when someone else has a different rhythm. You'll learn humility when someone else sees your blind spots. You'll learn courage when someone else matters enough to risk disappointing. That kind of growth can't be achieved alone. I tried. I failed. And that failure taught me something valuable. Independence is powerful, but interdependence is human. If you're tired of being the strong one, you don't have to announce it. Just let yourself rest here for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Nothing is required of you right now. I want to talk about the nights when distractions stop working, when the room feels too quiet, when your phone is silent but you keep checking anyway. Those nights taught me the most. They taught me that companionship isn't about filling time, it's about sharing weight. I don't want someone to entertain me. I want someone to witness me, and I want to witness them. That mutual witnessing is the paradigm I once missed. I thought love was about chemistry. It's a boo. Commitment to attention. Will you still stay with me? If that question feels tender, good. Tenderness means your heart isn't numb. I know some of you listening have been hurt badly, betrayed, abandoned, made to feel replaceable. I won't pretend words fix that. But I will say this, your caution makes sense. Just don't let caution turn into permanent closure. You can be careful and open at the same time. You can move slowly. You can ask questions. You can say, I need consistency. The right person will honor that. They'll appreciate it. I learned to appreciate it too, because consistency is love in action. Passion fades. Patterns remain. If I could go back, I'd prioritize patterns over promises. But I can't go back. I can only go forward with awareness. That's why I'm here saying this out loud. I can't do this alone. And if you're honest, maybe you can't either. That doesn't mean we merge our lives immediately. It means we acknowledge the need. We stop pretending we're immune to loneliness. Loneliness isn't a personal failure, it's a signal pointing toward connection. If you're still listening, I want you to imagine something gently. Imagine coming home and being able to speak without summarizing, without shrinking. Imagine someone asking, how was your day? And actually waiting for the answer. Imagine sharing silence that feels warm instead of empty. That's not fantasy, that's alignment. And it starts with honesty. Will you still be with me? Not as a demand, as an opening. We don't have to rush the answer. We can sit with the question. Let it breathe. Let it breathe. That it's often the parts of you that learn to be hard to survive. I'm still here. And if you need more time, take it, I'll stay. We're not done yet, not even close. I'm still here with you. If your mind wandered and then came back, that's okay. That's how this works. You don't have to hold everything at once. Just keep returning. I want to tell you about the moment I realized I had been confusing endurance with love. Endurance is staying busy so you don't feel. Love is staying present so you can. I had perfected endurance. I could go days without asking myself how I was doing, weeks without naming what I missed, months without admitting that something essential was absent. People admired that. But resilience without connection becomes a quiet kind of self-erosion. You start shrinking your needs so you don't have to explain them. You start lowering expectations so you don't risk disappointment. You start telling yourself stories that make the loneliness feel intentional. I told myself I liked the quiet. What I liked was not being rejected. There's a difference. Will you still stay with me? I'm asking again because repetition is honesty when it comes from the same place. I'm not asking for certainty. I'm asking for curiosity. Curiosity says, what could this be if we let it unfold? Fear says, what if it ends the way the others did? Both voices are understandable, but only one leads to a life that feels shared. If you've been hurt, your fear earned its voice. Just don't let it have the final word. I remember noticing how my body reacted when Meone got close. Tight chest, shallow breath, an urge to change the subject, to joke, to intellectualize anything but say what I was feeling. That's when I understood something important. My heart wasn't closed. It was guarded. Guarded hearts don't refuse love. They test it, sometimes too harshly. They test people by staying distant and seeing if they stay. Most didn't. And I told myself that PR owed something about them. It actually revealed something about me. I was asking others to do the work I was avoiding. When I finally saw that, it hurt. But it also gave me agency. Because what you see, you can change. And change doesn't happen in grand declarations. It happens in small moments of choice, choosing to answer honestly when someone asks how you're doing, choosing to send the message. Instead of waiting, choosing to say I miss you without attaching a condition. Those choices feel small. They add up to intimacy. If you're listening and thinking about someone you never fully let in, you don't have to fix that tonight. Just acknowledge it. Awareness is the first repair. I want to talk about expectations for a moment. I used to think expectations ruin love. Now I know unspoke. And expectations do. Love doesn't fail because people want too much. It fails because people don't say what they need. They hope to be understood without being known. I did that. I hoped my effort would translate. I hoped my silence would be read as depth. I hoped my distance would be interpreted as trust. It wasn't. Clarity would have changed. Everything. So if I ask you, will you date me? What I really asking is, will you talk to me when something feels off? Will you tell me when you're scared? Instead of disappearing, will you let me do the same? That's the agreement I'm interested in now. Not perfection, but participation, tenderness and mutual effort that doesn't get enough attention. To people trying, not dramatically, not loudly, but consistently. If that sounds ordinary, it's B. Because ordinary is where real intimacy lives. I used to chase intensity. Intensity burns fast. Consistency warms slowly. I know which one lasts. If you're tired of highs and crashes, you're not boring. You're ready. Ready for something steadier. Ready for something kinder to your nervous system. Ready for something that doesn't require you to abandon yourself to be chosen? I want that too. That. Why I'm saying this plainly, I can't do this alone, and I don't want to anymore. There's a relief in saying that. See if you can feel it. The relief of not having to be everything for yourself. The relief of imagining shared responsibility for joy and repair. If you're listening while doing something else, walking, driving, lying down, notice how your body feels right now. Notice it without judgment. That's something your body clings to. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. I mean, something here is touching something true in you. Stay with that. I want to be clear about something else. Dating isn't a promise of forever. It's a willingness to explore honestly, saying, let's see what happens when we don't hide. That feels doable. Forever can wait. Presence can't. So when Skip, will you date me? I'm not asking you to bet your future. I'm asking you to show up for a moment, then another, then another. That's how trust is built, moment by moment. I used to think trust was a leap. It's a series of steps. If you stumble, we pause. If I stumble, we talk. That's it. No disappearing acts, no guessing games, no silent tests, just two people learning in real time. So if that sounds slow, good. Slow is sustainable. And sustainability is the most romantic thing I know now. I'm glad you're still here. I mean that. Your staying matters. And I'm not finished saying what needs to be said. Not yet. Before I continue, let me ground us for a second. You last stopped at this emotional point. I had just finished talking about slow, sustainable love. Choosing presence of our intensity. And I ended with the line, I'm not finished saying what needs to be said. That's where we paused. Now I'll continue. Deepening fear, moving through courage, and slowly arriving at choosing again. Stay with me. Fear doesn't arrive as panic most of the time. It arrives as hesitation, as logic, as reasons that sound responsible. I'm not ready. I have too much going on. I don't want to ruin what little peace I have. I've said all of those things. They sound mature, but underneath them was something simpler and harder to admit. I was afraid of hoping. Hope is dangerous when you've been disappointed, because hope lifts you just enough that the fall feels farther. So instead of hoping, I learned to expect nothing. And people praised that too. They called it realism. But realism, why? Without openness is just fear in a suit. If you've ever told yourself you don't expect much from love anymore, ask yourself gently, did you arrive there through wisdom or through exhaustion? There's no shame in either, but there is a difference. Exhaustion makes you retreat. Wisdom makes you choose carefully. For a long time I was retreating and calling it wisdom. I didn't want to want someone. Anting felt like giving away leverage. I had learned how to stand alone so well that the idea of leaning felt unnatural. But humans aren't meant to live without leaning. Even the strongest structures rely on support. I had forgotten that. Fear also shows up as comparison. You look at people who tried again and got hurt. You look at relationships that failed. You look at your own past and think, I can't go through that again. And you might be right. You can't go through it again. But you don't have to, because you're not the same person anymore. You notice things sooner now. You speak faster now. You'll leave earlier when something isn't right. That's not bitterness. That's growth. Courage after failure doesn't look like diving in. It looks like staying present longer than your fear. NTS, you too. It looks like saying I'm nervous instead of disappearing. It looks like allowing someone to see the parts of you that don't perform well. I didn't know that kind of courage before. I thought courage was confidence. Now I know courage is honesty. Honesty when it might cost you. Honesty when it might not be reciprocated. Honesty when there are no guarantees. That's the courage love, eh? Chili asks for, if you're listening and feeling resistance right now, that's okay. Resistance doesn't mean no. It means something important is being touched. Stay with it. I remember the first time I chose differently, not dramatically, just quietly. Someone asked how I was doing, and I answered truthfully. No performance, no minimization, and nothing terrible happened. I wasn't rejected. I wasn't judged. I was met. That moment recalibrated something in me. It showed me that vulnerability isn't a cliff, it's a bridge. You don't cross it all at once. You take a step, then another. Choosing again doesn't mean choosing blindly, it means choosing consciously, choosing to be seen, choosing to ask, choosing to respond instead of retreat. So when I ask, will you date me, I'm not asking from desperation. I'm asking from courage, from a place that says, I know what this costs, and I still believe it's worth trying. That belief didn't come easily. It was built slowly through reflection, regret, and repair. And it's okay if yours is still building. You don't have to be fearless to choose again. You just have to be willing. Willing to risk being known. Willing to say what you W. Willing to accept that love is not certainty. It's participation. If you're still here listening, breathing, staying, that willingness already exists in you. Fear hasn't erased it, it's just been protecting it. Thank it. And then when you're ready, gently take the next step. I'm still here and we can keep going together. If you're listening and wondering whether you can trust again, ask yourself a softer question. Can you trust yourself to notice when something feels off? Can you trust yourself to speak sooner? Can you trust yourself to leave if respect disappears? That's the foundation. Trusting another person starts with trusting your own awareness. Once I understood that, choosing again felt less like a gamble and more like a collaboration. I wasn't handing my heart over BL. I was walking alongside someone, paying attention together. Soft hope grew there. Not the kind that demands a future, but the kind that enjoys the present. Soft hope sounds like laughter without scanning for the catch. It feels like relief in your shoulders. It looks like making plans without bracing for disappointment. Soft hope doesn't shout. It homes. It says, this feels good right now. And that's enough. I had forgotten how to let moments be enough. I was always calculating outcomes. Soft hope taught me to stay, to linger, to appreciate what was real without rushing it into certainty. If you're listening and feeling something gentle rise, don't interrogate it. Don't ask it to prove itself. Let it be small. Small hope is sustainable. Small hope survives. Choosing again also me. And redefining success in love. Success isn't permanence, it's presence. Showing up honestly for as long as it's healthy. It's leaving with integrity if it's not. That understanding took pressure off my heart. It made room for playfulness, for ease, for affection without fear. Trust grew deep, not because I stopped being afraid, but because fear stopped being in charge. I learned to say I'm nervous instead of pretending I wasn't. I learned to ask for reassurance without apologizing. I learned to give reassurance without feeling trapped. Those exchanges built something quiet and strong. If you've been craving something gentle after chaos, you're not asking for too much. You're asking for regulation, for safety, for a love that doesn't spike your adrenaline. Soft hope lives there. It invites rest. It invites trust to grow at its own pace. And when trust grows slowly, it grows roots. If you're still here, still listening, I want you to notice something. You're not being rushed. Nothing is being demanded of you. You're allowed to arrive in your own time. Hope doesn't need to be forced to be real. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself feel okay. Let yourself enjoy. Let yourself believe that not every connection ends in loss. Some end in learning, some end in warmth. Some continue quietly, steadily, beautifully. I'm still here with you. And if you want, we can keep choosing moment by moment together. Let everything slow down now. You don't need to lean forward anymore. You don't need to anticipate what's coming next. Just rest here. If your body feels tense, notice that without trying to fix it. Tension isn't wrong. It's a sign you've been holding things together for a long time. You can loosen your grip now. Safety doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives quietly. Like realizing you can exhale without checking the room. That's what I want this to feel like, a place where nothing is demanded of you. A place where you don't have to impress, perform, explain, or defend. Just be. For a long time, I didn't know what safety felt like in connection. I thought closeness meant pressure, that being seen meant being evaluated, that love meant constantly proving your worth. So I stayed alert even in good moments, especially in good moments. I was always waiting for the shift, the change in tone, the distance, the moment it would cost me. Living like that is exhausting if you recognize yourself in this. I want you to do something very gently. You don't have to stay vigilant here. Nothing bad is about to happen. No one is going to leave in the middle of your honesty. You're allowed to soften. Rest isn't something you earn after healing. Rest is part of healing. It's where your nervous system learns a new story, where connection doesn't equal danger, where silence doesn't equal abandonment, where closeness doesn't equal loss of self. I learned safety through repetition, through moments that stayed calm, through conversations that didn't escalate, through disagreements that didn't threaten separation. That's how safety builds, not through grand reassurance, but through consistency. If you're listening right now and your breathing has slowed even slightly, that matters. That's your body recognizing something different. You're not being rushed. You're not being tested. You're not being asked to give more than you have. You're not alone anymore. Even if you're physically by yourself, even if your room is quiet, even if this is the first tea in a long time you felt accompanied without expectation, presence counts. Being with someone, even through words, counts. I want to say this clearly because many people need to hear it exactly this way. You don't have to be fixed to be loved. You don't have to be healed to be held. You don't have to be confident to be chosen. You just have to be here. You are. That's enough. Nothing is being taken from you. Nothing is at risk. This moment is safe. Let your shoulders drop a little. Unclench your jaw. If you want, place a hand on your chest or stomach. Feel that you're still here, still breathing, still capable of connection. Safety feels like being able to pause without punishment. Like being able to say, I'm tired and not having to justify it. Like being quiet together with wondering if it means something bad. That kind of safety exists, and I now believe that. I want you to borrow that belief for a while. If yours feels weak, you're allowed to lean. You're allowed to rest in someone else's steadiness. You're allowed to be supported without owing anything back immediately. This is what not alone actually means. Not constant conversation, not constant reassurance. Just knowing someone is here, staying, not leaving when things slow down, not disappearing when the energy softens. If you're still listening, you're already practicing that. Your staying matters. Let this be a place you return to, a feeling you remember. A reminder that connection doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives as relief, as quiet, as rest. You're safe here, and you do. And have to go anywhere yet. I'm still with you. I want to stay here with you for a while. Not in a dramatic way, not with declarations that feel heavy, just in the quiet, steady way that proves itself over time. Staying is underrated. We talk a lot about beginnings, about sparks, about intensity. But staying is where safety lives. Staying is choosing presence when nothing exciting is happening. It's answering the next message with the same care as the first. For a long time I thought love had to feel urgent to be real. If it wasn't overwhelming, I assumed it wasn't enough. But urgency burns fast. Consistency warms slowly. If you've been abandoned before, your system learned to scan for exits. You notice subtle changes in tone, silences that feel too long. That doesn't mean you're Ken. It means you adapted. Here's what staying looks like when it's healthy. It looks like returning again and again, not perfectly, just reliably. I'm not leaving doesn't mean nothing will ever change. It means I won't disappear when it gets quiet. It means I'll tell you if something is wrong instead of vanishing. It means you don't have to chase me to keep me. That kind of consistency teaches your body something new. It teaches you that calm isn't a warning sign, that boredom isn't rejection, that rest doesn't equal neglect. Staying is answering even when you're tired. It's choosing honesty over avoidance. It's saying I need space instead of creating distance through silence. I learned that consistency is built through small and remarkable acts. I'm thinking of you. I'll check back later. I'm still here. Those phrases don't trend. They don't go viral, but they heal. If you're listening and you've been craving reassurance, let me offer it gently. You don't have to earn someone's staying. You don't have to be interesting enough, calm enough, or healed enough. The right kind of connection doesn't make you audition. It invites you settle. Consistency feels like knowing where you stand. It feels like clarity without pressure. I'm not leaving. That also means allowing moments to repeat. The same comfort, the same care, the same tone. Repetition is safety. Your nervous system learns through repetition. That's why chaos imprints so deeply. That's also why calm consistency can too. If your body is relaxing as you listen, that's not accidental. That's staying, doing its work. I want you to imagine this as a place you can come back to, not because you're desperate, but because it's familiar, because it doesn't ask you to be different, because nothing is at risk here. Staying doesn't rush. It doesn't threaten. It doesn't withdraw affection to regain control. It remains available. Even when nothing special is happening, especially then. If you've ever been loved only when you were entertaining, useful, or strong, I want you to hear this. You're allowed to be ordinary. Steady, unconditional in presence, not in promises. If you fall asleep here, that's okay. If you wake up and it's still playing, that's okay too. That's consistency. Returning again and again. I'm not leaving. Not from this moment, not from this tone, not from you. You're allowed to rest into that. You're allowed to believe. Even if just for now. I'm here and I'm staying. You're allowed to be quiet. You're allowed to be unsure. Staying includes those versions of you. I'm not leaving, as felt most clearly in moments of neutrality, when there's no conflict to fix, no excitement oh ride, just time passing and presence remaining. That's where trust settles. If your mind wanders, that's okay. You can drift and come back. Nothing here requires your full attention. That's part of the safety. You don't have to hold on tightly. This isn't going anywhere. Consistency also means repair when something is missed, when something hurts. Staying says, let's talk about it. Not let's pretend it didn't matter. Not let's disappear. Repair builds more safety than perfection ever could. If you've been waiting for someone to stay long enough to really see you, let this be a reminder. You're not too much. You're not asking for the impossible. You're asking for continuity, for reliability, for a nervous system that can finally rest. I'm still here, not counting minutes, not preparing an exit, just staying. Let that sink in. You don't need to respond. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to decide anything right now. This is what staying feels like: quiet,